Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Be bold, be brave, be extraordinary, be vulnerable, be real, be curious, be true, be you. Welcome to Trusting Your Gut with world-class energy intuitive Catherine McIntosh, a show designed to awaken you to enjoy the process of evolving, have fun along the way, and learn to listen to those silent in-between moments. You are the expert of your own life, and nobody knows more about the next steps to take in your journey than you. So please, listen to your gut and discover what's waiting for you to explore. Here is your host, Catherine McIntosh.
All right, so welcome to today's show. As always, I've got my my son's little magic corner with me today. I wanted to kind of showcase that we got some snow. We got about a foot of snow over the weekend, and it's just beautiful out. So I thought I'd change up the scenery because it's kind of like life. We're always changing, we're always evolving. And today's topic is kind of going to uncover the reason why you might be struggling to manifest what you want. And so before we dive into the actual topic today, I have a little story I'm going to tell on myself. So I caught myself this last week, really in a pattern that I was like, oh, I don't like that about myself. I really don't like that about myself. And what I realized is I've been telling myself a story about a relationship in my life. It's currently a platonic relationship, and it's a relationship that I will have for the rest of my life as long as my son is alive. And I was telling myself this story about the relationship, blaming, where the other person's functioning from, looking at everything they're doing. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and they said to me, Catherine, people don't really change. And kinda hit me pretty hard because in that I went, "Oh, not many people do. They don't like change." And I was like, "But I like change, but I like evolving, but I like growing." And I realized that I had had in my world for a very long time that everybody wants to change, that everybody's capable of change. And it made me realize that I might be kind of alone in this in certain regards, is not everyone likes change. Not everybody wants to change. It's not always easy to go through constant versions of transformation, constantly sort of working on yourself and evolving. And yet there are a lot of you out there that like change. And so in this process, as I realized I was functioning from the incorrect mindset that everyone likes change, that everyone will change, that everyone wants to change, I was finding myself stuck in a little bit of a pattern. And in that pattern, I was focusing on what was happening in my external world. So I was placing blame. I was sort of throwing some anger, frustration, sadness, all those things. And I kind of looked at it and I went, oh, Catherine, you talk about this all the time in your classes and your radio show and your podcast and your videos that you do. And yet here you are revealing to you an area of your life where you need to clean up. And is that I was expecting external circumstances outside of my sort of realm to change. And so I was allowing my internal world to be radically affected by someone or a situation that may not ever change. And I had to go, okay, what do I do with this? And that kind of leads me into sort of some of the reasons why you might not be able to manifest what you would like to manifest, why you've been struggling. So maybe you do the affirmations, maybe you do the gratitude, maybe you're setting your targets, maybe you're writing down your dreams, maybe you're putting a time frame on those dreams, and yet something might be out of alignment. And so I caught myself out of alignment in this area of my life. Right. I teach that it's all about your internal game. It's all about navigating your internal world. And yet here I was not navigating my internal world and trying to control my external world. Busted. Busted. And so today I wanted to kind of talk about and reveal to you 8 things that you can do to begin to sort of internalize how it would look for you to cultivate your ability to manifest. And so when we talk about manifesting, manifesting sort of means how something shows up, right? Actualizing manifesting, right, is to have what you'd like to show up, show up. It actualizes. And so a lot of times we try to be in charge of how things show up, but guess what? It's not up to us. So we try to manipulate our external world or manipulate the people around us, or we try to do the right things. Well, this teacher says to do it this way, and this teacher says to do it this way, and this teacher says to meditate this way. And you know what? What other people tell you to do is an external world. What you have to do is begin to align your internal world. Yeah. And so I love it. We're getting comments and feedback. Keep them coming, you guys, right? Someone says, I'm the queen of that, right? The queen of, right? Focusing on controlling the external world. But we can't control anyone or anything. We can only control ourselves. And I recently, actually today, on a couple of my live coaching calls, was talking to them and talking about this concept of lies. And it came from a place of we will reject ourselves first before we let the external world reject us. And so when the external world rejects us, we have proof that we got rejected. But the only reason we got rejected is because something inside of us we were rejecting first. And then we have that proof, and we're like, see, so I need to control my external world. I need to prevent myself from being rejected. But whenever we're controlling things on the outside, we know it doesn't really work very well. And what we're doing is we're avoiding whatever is void in us, whatever is wounded in us, we're using that wound, we're using that void, we're using that lack to reject creating and actualizing and manifesting a greater reality. And so when I talk about manifesting and actualizing, I personally think that the greatest thing that you can manifest and actualize is internal peace, is a sense of self-knowing, is knowing yourself better, right? Better and better every day, and becoming greater and greater personally every day. It's not about how the outside world receives you if you don't receive yourself. Right? I know so many beautiful people in the world who get hundreds, if not thousands, of compliments, and something inside of them doesn't believe it. So they reject it. Right? The world is trying to show them something different, but they're not ready or willing to receive it. And that's kind of like manifesting. The universe is always trying to gift you something, but if you're not in alignment with receiving it, guess what? You'll miss out on actualizing it. Right. So, whenever we think about something that we crave, that we want, that we desire, it already exists, right? I think Joe Dispenza talks about it. Like it already exists in the field. The minute you go, I would like, a blue Ferrari. I would like, to live in Maui. I would like to own a new home, right? It already exists in the field the minute you sort of acknowledge and allow yourself to dream it. The trick with manifesting is you have to get in alignment in your internal world to get so congruent with that being a reality that you then just have to receive it because it's already here. You just have to live your way into allowing it to come into your life, allowing it to be actualized. And so I made some notes because I want to address them. And so we're going to do, right, 8 things that you can do today to change what you create and attract in your life. And I wrote these down because, sometimes I get distracted by shiny objects and new concepts, and I can get myself on tangents. So I'm keeping myself accountable for being able to share these 8 things that you can do to actually help yourself with your manifestation journey. Now, this isn't about following these 8 steps exactly. This is about taking the idea and the concept of these 8 steps and then integrating them into your world in a way that feels true to you. So, just on along the lines of rejection, before we go down these 8 steps, wanted to share a little bit about this concept of rejecting and speak specifically around this concept of lies. So, every time we diminish our gifts, diminish our potency, diminish the fact that we are like these infinite energetic contributions that are full of light and brightness and sunshine and possibility. Every time that we go into lack, we are creating and believing in a lie. And I watch this in my coaching practice all the time. Is people trying to get rid of the lie, people trying to change the lie. But guess what? You can't get rid of a lie. You can't change a lie. You can only change your relationship to that lie. And so some of you are struggling with manifesting, with actualizing, with receiving what you've been asking for because you have within you some big fat lies that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that it's not safe, that you won't be taken care of, that you're too much, that you're too happy, that nobody wants you to be happy, right? You're living this lie, which is preventing the things that you would like to manifest and actualize. It's preventing them from coming into your world. It already exists in the field. You just haven't gotten alignment with it because there's a lie there. Now, you can't get rid of the lie. You can't even change the lie. You can only change your relationship to the lie. Right. And so we're going to dive into these 8 things. And I'm super curious how they relate to you. Right. And whether or not you can see yourself in these. And so, the biggest lie that we all buy is that it's not possible for us. And my philosophy and my point of view is that if you have a dream and you had that dream and it's a dream that might scare the crap out of you, that might feel unrealistic given your current circumstances, you had that dream because you have inside of you the capacity to make that dream come true. It's not airy fairy. It's not, oh, that doesn't belong to me. No, it belongs to you because you have the capacity and the resources with inside of you. If you're willing to allow them to exist, if you're willing to change your relationship to the lies you've been buying, you have the ability to make those dreams come true. And I believe that everyone deserves to have their dreams come true. And so if this is you and you have big dreams and you've been struggling with how do you make those dreams come true, perhaps some or all of these next steps might help you on your journey because we all deserve to live a life full of what we desire. But here's what I'll say to you is make sure that as long as within your desires, within your dreams, right? You're not looking to ruin anyone else's life. You're not looking to make someone else's life worse. You're not being malevolent. You're being more benevolent. But make sure that within that dream, you have this burning desire inside of you to live a life full of joy, to live a life full of peace, to live a life full of gratitude, right? So, external things will only get you so far. Money can't buy you happiness, right? Recently was listening to, I believe it was a podcast today with oh man, I think it's Eric Pineda, and he was interviewing Erwin McManus. And they were sharing about a billionaire who's really struggling, feeling empty on the inside. And no amount of money could fix that emptiness. And that man went on several months later to end his own life, to commit suicide. And so, if we are so focused on manifesting in the external world, but we're not cultivating a sense of joy and peace and space on the internal world, this is not going to work well. That's not the purpose. The purpose of life is to have fun, to find joy, to do what makes you happy, to light yourself up, and to go for peace. And when you do those things first, you will begin to expand your ability to receive the great things that would like to come your way. But you all deserve it. You're all worthy. You all are enough. And there's nothing wrong with you and nothing to fix. You just have to get yourself in alignment with knowing that you can do it and you are powerful and you can receive it. So let's see how far we get along in these steps. We'll be sure to cover all of them in the episode today. So the first one, and I believe this is a really powerful one, is to stop focusing on what's wrong. What isn't working in your life? We can get so consumed, and I know as a healer and someone who is obsessed with evolving on the daily basis, I can get really in my head about looking at what I need to fix, right? But the more I look at what I need to fix, the more I find things that I think I need to fix, the more I find things that I think are wrong with me. And so we want to encourage you. It's great to know that you desire to work on yourself and evolve, to become a better version of yourself every day. That's amazing. But make sure that when you're doing it from a place of being grateful for where you're already at, being grateful for what you already have, being grateful for who you already are, and that who you already are in itself is enough, right? So you got to stop focusing. Number one is to stop focusing on what's wrong. My favorite mantra, and you guys have listened to my show before, you've heard me say this, is this mantra of there's nothing wrong, there's no problem to solve, and there's nothing to fix. And if you can function from that mantra, what if there's nothing wrong with me? What if there's no problem to solve? And what if there's nothing to fix? What would I choose right now? I'd choose to be happy, or I'd choose to enjoy, right, where I'm at, what's going on in my life, who's in my life, what I'm learning, where I'm growing, what I'm anticipating, right? Part of the joy of manifesting is anticipating that it's not yet already there. Anticipating, oh, how is that going to feel when that actualizes? And if you're internally empty, inside yourself, the external manifestation is not going to fix the emptiness. I know from personal experience, I've had dreams come true, and the day they came true, I felt worse, not better, because I wasn't also working on myself on the inside while I was working on the external things. And so you got to do both. So, number two is to go inside, to focus on your inside game. Do you feel satisfied? Are you happy with the effort that you put in today? Are you feeling fulfilled? Are you happy with how you showed up today? Right? That is go inside, focus on internal. We get so focused on what's happening in the world around us because we all know right now the world is a crazy, 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 crazy place. And so we can only, right, stay sane for so long when we're trying to control or spend all of our time and energy worrying or just focusing on the external world, right? If you truly want peace of mind and you truly want to align yourself so you can receive your dream life, you have to work on your dream life from the inside out. So that means, are you happy with what you have now? Are you happy with who you are? Is there something that maybe feels like it's in a little bit of a conflict, right? Are you having a conflict with yourself? And the truth is, we all have conflicts almost all of the time, right? We all have polarity or contrast almost all the time. Contrast is the seed of manifestation, right? Contrast creates an energy. And so we don't want to be like Pollyanna and like, happy go lucky all the time, right? And so you want to learn to cultivate your internal world. What do you value? What's important to you? Because if you're wanting to manifest a multi-million dollar you know, uh, platform or portfolio of wealth or billion-dollar portfolio of wealth, but you have a lot of internal conflict, you might manifest that wealth, but you won't be fulfilled when that wealth arrives. And so manifesting isn't just, oh, look at me with my fancy cars and my big house and my fancy life and my, Louis Vuittons and my, Hermes bag. That isn't wealth, right? It might be money, but it's not wealth. Wealth is cultivating a really deep sort of satisfying relationship with you and with the life around you. All right. One of my new favorite yoga teachers in Aspen, shout out to O2 and Coco in Aspen if you're here. He's one of my favorite teachers, I think, ever in my life. And what I love about him is he used to be a teacher in New York, so maybe some of you know him, but he what you see is what you get. He walks his talk. He is the same person in the studio as he is outside the studio. And, no cut against anyone doing anything to try to be their best. I am working every day at becoming walking my talk. And I do a pretty good job of it, but I also have my days where I do a terrible job of it. And so once you go on the inside to get really good at knowing thyself, at realizing that internal peace is the game, being present with yourself is the game, right? It will change who you are and what you do and how you show up. And so, my friends, in your manifesting journey, you better make sure that you are working on yourself from the inside out. And so, I told that story about this last week. I had been focused on my son's dad, what he was doing, what he wasn't doing. Hi, sweetness, right? What he wasn't doing. And I was getting really upset. I was losing my peace inside of myself, and all it took was a friend of mine saying to me, Catherine, people don't change very. And I went, oh, well, yeah. I mean, I do. And the people I surround myself do, and they love to change. But I guess there's a whole world out there that doesn't like change so much. So if you're listening to this, my guess is that you like change. Right? And so one of the best things you can do, which is number 2, is to go inside, right? And the sort of covered number 3, to know thyself. And when you know yourself, you stop worrying about what other people think about you. You stop worrying about the impression you're going to make, or what something you're going to do, how it's going to impact others. And what you're most focused on and concerned on is, ooh, if I know myself, then I'm going to pay attention to how I feel. And so I know myself. I know that if I don't do my daily routine with my meditation and my somatic exercises, by the way, I have a free download on my website that will help you regulate your nervous system. So if I don't regulate my nervous system, if I don't activate my dreams, and regulate my nervous system on a daily basis, I get quite cranky. I get pretty off, and I start to focus on who or what I can control in my outside world. And we all know that doesn't work very well. So it's kind of comical. So the days that I don't do those things to make sure that I am working on my version of my best self in that moment, in the present moment. So I'm not looking at, well, I want to be as good as I was yesterday, or I want to be better than I was yesterday. I mean, the target is always to be better, but being better doesn't always mean being happier, right? I might need to be better at catching myself in my lies, right? Caught myself focusing my energy, right, on a relationship that I can't control the other person. And, till death do us part. We had a kid together. We are, you know, sort of in this for life. And I want it to be the best experience I can possibly make it. And so what I was doing was not working. And so, my friends, in this quest, as you go inside, as you know yourself, you become a better version of yourself, right? And you continue to go. And so we're going to do one more, then we'll take a break and I'll share the remaining, right? So we're going to go to number 4. So in this, right, number 1 is you stop focusing on what's wrong. Right? Number 2 is you go inside, get internal, right? Number 3 is you know thyself, right? And number 4, which I think is a really big one in your quest to know yourself, is you stop comparing yourself to others. Stop looking at where others are, where you're not. Stop looking at where others aren't, where you are. Like, that never creates more peace of mind inside. And so the whole point of manifesting is to create an amazing life, not just to have amazing things. I know a lot of people who have amazing things and they're not so happy, and they're searching for the answers, and they're crying out to sort of find meaning and purpose, right? And peace. And so stop comparing yourself. Stop comparing your wealth. Stop comparing your looks. Stop comparing your body shape. Stop comparing, the size of the house you live in. Just stop comparing and start worrying about right? Where you're at with you today. So, the great question to ask that will get you out of comparing yourself to others is how's my relationship to myself today? How's my relationship with myself today? Today, I would say it's a pretty good day because I did my morning routine. I set myself up for success. I didn't yet go on a walk because if you can't tell, the beautiful snow, blue skies, right? Got a foot of snow this week, and I got to hike in snow up to my knee by myself in the middle of winter, right? On a blue sky, bluebird day. No one was out because it was the first real snowfall of the season. And I was like, wow, nature doesn't compare itself, right? Like each tree doesn't compare itself. A giraffe doesn't compare itself to an elephant. An elephant doesn't compare itself to a mouse. But yet humans think that it's human nature to compare. No, that's human destruction, not human nature. So your invitation is to change what we've entrained ourselves to do as humans, which is to compare, and to start just to be in your own world, navigating your own thoughts, not focusing on what people are thinking outside of you, right? And really being true to who you are in the moment. So, number 1, stop focusing on what's wrong. Number 2, go inside. Number 3, know thyself. Number 4, stop comparing yourself. And then we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll share the last 4. I've got 8 things for you today of how to help you get out of struggling with manifesting what you'd like to have in your life. So stay tuned and we'll be back.
Om Times TV.
Do you trust you? Do you trust your body? What if the key to unlocking the weight, pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, addictions, traumas, and sorrows was already inside of you? Learn to love the skin you are in so you can create the body, business, and life you love. Everyone always says you can't explain what Catherine does, you just have to experience it. From Hollywood actors to New York Times best-selling authors to some of the world's wealthiest and most successful, no 2 experiences are the same. For private sessions, online courses, live events, and the latest book Jack Canfield calls Game Changer and should be required reading for everyone, go to katherinemcintosh.com. KatherineMcintosh.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
All right, so we are back from the break. Thank you for staying tuned. And we are discussing 8 things that you can do, right, to cultivate your manifestation abilities, right, that to make it easier. And so I like taking live callers with things that you might be challenged with in your life. And as always, I will download or channel for you what I think might be going on. I always tell people to please pay attention to what feels true and toss the things that don't. When I sometimes channel, I have a hard time telling if I'm in the past, present, or future. And so I leave it up to you to sort of distill down the information. And so if you are wanting to call and would like to ask a question, you can call us at 202 570 7057. And we try and take live callers if your question is appropriate and on topic for today. So, with that being said, let's get back to today's topic, right? And we are doing the 8 things you can do today to change what you create and attract in your life. One of my favorite things to do is to sort of help awaken and hold space for people to awaken in them their dreams coming true. And this process that I'm talking about, like going on in the inside. It's not like you just one day wake up and go, okay, I'm going to go on the inside. It's all fixed. I'm going to have my dream life, right? It's like you wouldn't put on, yoga pants and running shoes or, running shorts or whatever it is and go to the gym once and expect to be fit for the rest of your life. You go to the gym to maintain your health, right? And so we go inside to maintain our spiritual health. Right? Our health with ourselves. And when you maintain your health with yourself, with your spirit and your sort of mental shifting mind, you can create anything and everything at any time and it becomes magic. And so I love walking people through that. And one of my favorite courses, I am actually, this is the last time I'm going to do it. I've been doing it for, I think, going on 5 years. Something called Fuel Your Future. Fuel Your Future. It's a 6-month coaching program. And we dive in. And one of the things that I've loved about this course and those that have done it over the years is there is a level of intimacy that gets created where these people that do this course, they now have lifelong companions, right? In fact, there's 3 of them from a course several years ago, and only one of them lives in London, and all 3 of them, as we speak, are together hanging out in London. And I'm like, how cool is that? So cool. Travel the world and meet up in different places. And so this will be my last Feel Your Future that I am facilitating and coaching a group through. And we're starting soon, actually November 6th. And so if you are curious about how you can explore and maybe dive into a group that allows you to feel safe and hold a container, you're welcome to visit my website and check it out. So, with that being said, let's get back to these 8 steps that we are going to navigate. So, I know I shared and repeated. I like repeating because repeating helps and you can always take notes. Stop focusing on what's wrong, right? Start focusing on what is, right? So, number 1 is that. Number 2 is to go inside, to get internal. Number 3 is to know yourself. Number 4, stop comparing yourself. I think this is a really big one because we can really create a lot of confusion and contrast. And then the universe gets confused because you're saying you want one thing, but you're choosing a totally different thing. And I tell people all the time, either let go of what you say you want or change your internal game to match that you believe you can have it. Right? So, number 5 is be great for yourself first. Be great for yourself first. You are not going to do anyone any good if you feel depleted. And so when you stop comparing yourself, when you stop trying to be great for validation or for other people's approval, when you stop trying to people please, make sure everyone else is happy, and you start to be great for yourself first, what that means is when you get to know yourself, when you get to know your values, like for example, I know that it is extremely important for me to always be evolving, to 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 work on myself, but I also can get stuck working on myself that I forget to have fun, right? And so when I'm focusing and really putting my energy in, okay, how do I be great for myself first? I got to make sure that I'm sort of maintaining or handling or allowing all parts of myself to be a part of this process, not just one piece, right? I notice like when I get off balance, my food usually gets off. When I get off balance, I'm cranky. And so usually I know that's a sign that I am leading or putting more emphasis on one value, not other values. And it's time to sort of balance things out and get back into the present moment and see what needs to shift. And so the truth is, every single one of you is great as you are right now. There's nothing wrong with you. You've always been great, but do you believe it? And so if you don't believe you're great, that's where your work is, right? Is to get to know that you're great, not for someone else, but for you, for your future, for your life, for your body, for your health, right? If you spend all this time creating a really abundant life, right? But you don't feel good in your health, right? Time to be great in your health too. Time to maybe change some mental stuff, right? And so when I get off whack, I know it. I can feel it. And so I know that it's time to adjust. And sometimes that adjustment means dropping my computer, dropping my work, and going out with friends. Sometimes that means getting out in nature and hiking up a mountain. So get to know yourself and be great for yourself first before you worry about being great for others. Right? I think it's Matthew Hussey. I've heard him say this, but I know I've heard a lot of people say this. I think I've heard Joe Dispenza say it too. He says, make a list of all of the qualities that you want in another person. Right? If you're seeking for a relationship or if you're wanting to improve your current relationship, make that list. And then they say, read that list and then go become that list yourself. So do it for you first. Because when you do it for you, you'll attract it. If you're not being it, you can't really attract it. You might be able to temporarily attract it, but you might lose it in the process because you're not maintaining, right, your truth. You're not in alignment. You're not in integrity. You're not paying attention to your values. Okay. So, number 6 is shift your mindset. If you want to manifest and actualize life that you have yet to experience, if you want to be the greatest version of yourself that you have yet to become, you have to shift your mindset into believing it's already happened. You have to shift your mindset into knowing that you're capable of having it. And one of the biggest mindset shifts is you have to open up your container of receiving. If you want a big life, you better look at, wow, are you willing to receive that life? Are you willing to have what you say you want? And some of you might be a big fat no, right? You're not willing to have what you say you want to have. And so guess what? That keeps that lack belief in place. And then you spend your life working on that lack belief, but you fail to address the root of that lack belief, right? And so perhaps like I'll give you an example. if you feel like you're not safe, right? Underneath that belief, you might be hanging tight onto that belief. And underneath that belief, the truth might be you don't feel like you're enough, or you don't feel worthy, or you don't feel like you matter. And so the mindset shift isn't to make sure you feel safe, because that's focusing on your external environment, right? Is this an aha? It's focusing on your external environment, right? How many of you can relate? But if you start to focus on your internal environment, shift your mindset to inside and go, oh, I need to start to feel worthy. I need to start to know I matter. So, how do I do that? How do I cultivate that? I'm going to have to shift my mindset. And so, I want to caveat this, like we talked about in the beginning. You will never be able to get rid of a lie, right? So if you don't feel safe, right, that's a lie. You'll never be able to get rid of it. Oh, I need to get rid of not feeling safe in order to feel worthy. I need to get rid of not feeling worthy in order to feel safe. No, that's a lie. You will never be able to get rid of the lie, right? I need to get rid of I don't feel safe. I need to like feel safe. That's a lie. It's not, it won't, but you have to change your relationship to the lie, right? Change your relationship. I still to this day struggle sometimes with my body image or my self-esteem, or I go, "Oh, I'm not good enough." And then I go, "Oh, that's a lie. I can't get rid of that lie. I just have to change my relationship to that lie." So you have to shift your mindset not into one that gets rid of things, but to one in which you change your relationship to the thing you're trying to get rid of, right? Allow it to transform. We have a saying, right? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? And so you're not trying to get rid of something. You're trying to allow it to grow within you, right? And so everything that we resist or every lie that we come across is an opportunity for us to evolve. What it's doing is it's facilitating us to become a greater version of ourselves every day. Right. And so I could easily have projected my anger onto, right, another person, onto, my son's dad, my ex. I could easily project my anger, but then guess what? I'm missing out on doing my internal work. I'm missing out on going, oh, this anger, this frustration, this, sadness, this is facilitating me to become a greater version of myself, right? It's also facilitating me to set some pretty clear boundaries, because in the past I was a people pleaser. So I let him get away with walking all over me. I let him get away with me taking care of everything. And so everything in our life is designed to facilitate us. It's not his fault, it's mine, right? It's mine. People don't change, right? Not right, not wrong, you guys. Please know I am not placing blame. I am being vulnerable with a situation in my current life that is allowing me to grow, right? He is moving back to Colorado to be close to his son, and in the process, well, he was in Boston for the last several years. It was easy to not have that relationship in my face. And now that that relationship is in my face, I have the chance to evolve, to use this to facilitate myself to become greater. And so I want you guys to shift your mindset. Everything that occurs in your life is to help you facilitate yourself into a greater version of yourself, to take responsibility. So that's number 7, right? Number 6 is to shift your mindset. It's nobody's fault. some of these problems, stop projecting, right? Take responsibility. So number 7 is take responsibility. Recognize everything that's showing up in your life is showing up to teach you, to help you grow, to make you become a greater version of yourself. It is not trying to keep you being a victim, right? It's not your fault that those things happen, but guess what? It is your responsibility to change if you don't like what's showing up. And, like shame on me, pointing a finger, it's it's a reminder, and that reminder comes from doing some core foundational work on my own beliefs about myself. And at the end of the day, the only person that I can work on is me. And sometimes that can, be a little vulnerable, a little exposed. And yet it's okay because guess what? We all, navigate that sort of fine line between how much should we show up with what is in the moment, what we're working on, what we're improving, and how much should we show up and be like, everything's fine, right? It's all part of the journey of being human. So take responsibility for yourself. It's not your fault. But now that you know, right? Now that you've revealed to yourself the truth, now that you know that you've been trying to make lies real, don't try and get rid of the lie. Just change your relationship to it. Change your relationship to your mindset. Change your relationship to yourself. Take responsibility. It's not your fault, but moving forward, it is now your responsibility. And then number 8, say yes to the thing outside your comfort zone. So I'm going to give you an example. Years ago, I was asked to do something, and in my head, I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't have the expertise. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I was like, oh, there's the lie. Because here's the deal. We've bought a lie that we're supposed to be ready, right? I went to grad school to study somatic psychology so that I could feel prepared to do the work that I currently do in the world. Well, had I finished grad school, had I gone through the entire program, right? I went for a year instead of 3. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing because at that time I thought I needed a degree. Well, had I gotten the degree, I wouldn't be able to work with people in the way that I work with them. Right now, maybe I would have done something different, but there are some pretty strict um, rules and regulations as a quote unquote therapist. And I just knew something in me knew not to follow through on that degree. And so oftentimes we're asked to do something outside of our comfort zone and we will go, oh, I'm not ready. But I want to invite you next time someone invites you to do something outside of your comfort zone and you've decided you're not ready. I want you to say yes anyway and figure it out. Richard Branson is known for, like, hey, even if you think you're not ready, say yes and figure it out as you go along the way. He said that's basically how he built his companies. He would say yes because it matched the energy of what he wanted to create, and then he figured it out along the way. And so I want to invite all of you, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right, right? You don't have to be prepared. The truth is, you've been preparing your whole life to say yes to the things that you would like to say yes to. And so, my friends, it's a journey. It's a never ending one. And you better make sure that you're really learning to enjoy your own company and enjoy the process of the journey. Otherwise, you're going to be manifesting and feeling miserable because it's not just about that outside oh, look what I got. It's wow, look I've become. And now I'm able to put myself in a position where I can receive, right? It's why people who win the lottery and then a couple years later they're back to where they were financially before they won the lottery because they didn't do the internal work to prepare themselves to receive. So they had to get rid of it. Manifesting is an internal game where your internal game gets to start to match your external game. So, my friends, as always, right, strive for greatness. Don't be afraid to dream big and be bold with those dreams. But make sure that in that process, you are doing your best to feel fulfilled along the way. Because if you think what you're going to manifest on the outside is going to create internal fulfillment, it won't. I've been there. It doesn't work. So, as always, stay true to you. Keep going for that internal game, and you got this. And if you'd like to check out joining me on my group coaching program, check it out. Go to the website, and we will see you next time. Thanks for being here, and adore you all.
Catherine is not a medical practitioner nor a licensed therapist. She has strong opinions and will express them, and truly believes that you are your best advocate for any and every area of your life. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician.